Good morning. Karen's still asleep, so I'm not going to be loud. But anyway, I'm going to do my normal morning thing, and I make her coffee, which I already made, but and then I cook her some breakfast. So I've been doing this for years. Sounds funny. It's less for her, more for me. I don't make myself breakfast or whatever, but it just makes me feel good. I'll fall. Karen likes this. She prefers it. too much cholesterol. But I actually typically just use whatever I can that's got olive oil in it. I also put together vitamins and medicines for us every morning. That, you know, Karen doesn't take any medicine in the morning, I think, but she has like some allergy pills she takes, and I put together some vitamins for her, and I do vitamins and one pill for me. Hey, Frankie. Fiber stuff that she puts in her coffee too. This stuff right here. It's like called Benefil or something. Benefiber. Everybody should take fiber in the morning. Sometime during the day. Women especially. A lot of women have IBS for whatever reason. It's bad. You know, they have a system issue. But this stuff right here will fix it. Coffee's usually too hot for her, so she wants an ice cube. So I look for a little one. And I make her one egg with this itty bitty pan because it fits as a sandwich. It's two pieces of toast with like butter on it, but she prefers fake butter from a spray bottle. And then I do this. And we've been doing the same ritual for, I don't know, since 2018. No, probably since more like 2011. Is when we got married, but been hanging out for since 2011. Frankie likes to pet my face. He's a good boy. I've had Frankie for like 15 or 16 years now. And he was probably a few months old when I got him. You're a good boy. You're a good boy, Frank. Yeah. We love you, kid. We love you, little man. It's fascinating what's on the cupboard, huh? Because you never get to see it. Yeah. You're a good boy. Yep, he's a little old man. That's my coffee cup. And this is almond. It's like a sweet cream. And I used to drink the real milk, but now I drink the almond milk of it. It's actually really good, and it's much better for you. No cholesterol. What's up, buddy? Mr. Coffee. And I use, my phone is messing with me. I use, okay, hold on. I just turned that little self-turning thing off. I use Folgers Classic Roast Coffee. I used to sell coffee, and Folgers is still really, really good coffee. It doesn't have to be really expensive. Whenever give yourself a boost, a mental boost of happiness, you just open up a coffee can and smell the coffee. Just regular old ground coffee. Oh my God, that smells so good. I'm just adjusting my phone. Oh. And now I will show what I do every morning as far as like getting medicines ready and vitamins and stuff like this. So, mine, Karen's. And then I have this over here for Karen to take her medicine. So Karen takes, she has allergies, and so she takes a couple of different allergy pills. So that one's some generic allergy relief. And I don't know why there's two different ones, but there are. But this one's really pretty. See that pretty color? Very neat. takes a one a day. In case anybody's a health nut, here's what it looks like. It's got a lot of different stuff. I also take a one a day, but it's for men, and it has this. Except I take two a day of a one a day. Another one we take is that. Another one we take is magnesium glycinate. You don't want to take the other magnesium, it's not that good. We each take two a day. And I take L-glutamate, which is good for your muscles. L-glutamine, I'm sorry. I actually take it like three different times a day. And then we each take 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. You get vitamin C in a lot of stuff you eat, but it's all about absorption rate. And I take venlafaxine, which is this generic version of Effexor. It's an antidepressant, anti-anxiety. It's due to post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm currently, oh wait a minute, I think I'm not at that. Where did I see that? I did just see this. I have an extra bottle of this somewhere. Figures. Well, anyway, I have an extra bottle of D3, and I'm out of that bit, so I know I have it upside down like that. Where is my D3? I think. Oh, I did just see it. There it is. And here I have an extra bottle of D3. Soon I've got to reorder a few things, like I'm almost out of magnesium. And I've got a couple of medications that I'm almost out of. So today I've got to call my doctor up in Iowa and get them to forward the prescriptions, my prescriptions, to a Walmart down here in Baton Rouge. Or I will never get a wink of sleep again. And of these, we each take 3. These are how many? Hey, baby doll, what's up?
What you doing?
I'm videotaping me put together our morning meds. So I think you're not supposed to get more than. Don't hurt yourself. I think you're not supposed to get more than 800 milligrams a day. And this is 125. So I put it together so we get 3 each, which should be enough. Yeah, 125, which is 5,000 IUs, whatever that means. But anyway, that's how many we get of D3. Really important. That's what we do. Hey baby, here's your medication stuff for you right here too. You want your coffee?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't want anything yet.
Okay. I love you, honey bun. Und then and I just readjusted the camera. That's all. And I use these little metal monkey dishes. And that's mine I take every morning. The only hard thing to do is remember to do it on the weekend. Because believe it or not, I don't make Karen's breakfast on the weekends very often. Once in a while, but a lot of times we go out for breakfast on the weekends. Okay. So that is my morning ritual. Today I am going to be leveling this stove. We just recently moved here, even though I'm procrastinating. But anyway, it's not quite level. And then I'm going to be fixing a leak on this side of the sink in the drain, which is why I have my tools sitting out by my spices. And that's from Karen last night. And that is my awesome vegetable peeler. I guess I don't have to be quiet anymore. Karen's in the shower. She's not asleep. Hi, guys. There's all three kitty cats sitting around me. Oh, kitty, kitty, kitty. So in case you don't know, I don't know if I've clued you in to this kind of thing, but Gracie is constantly terrified of everything. She was born scared. I don't understand it exactly, but it is what it is. But I guess in a past life she was a survivor of some type. I don't know. Well, clearly, we're none of us are survivors the whole time, because otherwise we'd never make it to this life. But what are you gonna do? So again, I just started this out of nowhere. This is Steve Underwood posting to YouTube or whatever else, maybe Red Note too. We've been in. We moved from Iowa, eastern Iowa, to Baton Rouge for a promotion that Karen got at work, where that she goes to underperforming properties that are. She was an apartment complex manager. The last apartment complex was about almost 500 apartments, but she goes to properties around the country that are owned by the property management company, or that are run by it, and that are underperforming. And there's a variety of reasons why that can happen. This one there was some kind of grand exodus about 2 or 3 months ago, and so kind of almost everybody was replaced. The maintenance supervisor, the manager, everybody in the office. Don't exactly know what happened, but something serious, and pretty much everybody either quit or was let go. And the people that have replaced them have been struggling, and which is kind of common. I mean, that's to be expected. Any kind of situation like that, that's a drastic change. It's an emergency, and every one of the people that got hired pretty much came from other properties that were already with the company, and they had already sort of proven themselves. The manager, especially, my wife met at a President's Club event, and that's some kind of a national thing. President's Club is something that's put on by that was created by the the national level of the Chamber of Commerce, and it's supposed to recognize and basically award people in private industry all over the country for growth and doing well in a year, by comparison to other people, and by comparison even to past years or whatever. So last year, my wife was recognized in President's Club, and she traveled. We lived in eastern Iowa, and she traveled to Colorado, where the head office for the company she works for resides. And one of the people that was there with her was the manager here at the complex we're at, and my wife was very impressed with her at the time and stuff. And I know my wife's absolutely brilliant when it comes to this kind of stuff. I mean, she never did apartment complex management, like property management, until we began it together in, what was it, 2012, I think, when we started working for Holiday Retirement, which is a company that specializes in retirement communities. It's not nursing homes, it's not assisted living, it's even lighter than that. Trying to remember what they call it, but it's like assisted living light. Okay, there's the basic difference is every single one of the communities that Holiday owns and runs is they're full dining, housekeeping comes to every single apartment and cleans it every day and stuff like that. There are people that are dedicated to having fun and stuff like that. They have one person that basically directs the games and the fun and games basically, and events and things like that for the residents, the tenants. And Karen and I we managed one for a year, and then we managed another one for a year, and then that was all we could take, because the company is designed. It's a luxury thing in a lot of ways. They don't take Title 19, which is Medicaid. 99% of all nursing homes and assisted livings and stuff in the country take Medicaid, which is Title 19 of Social Security. And you have to, because it's that expensive. It's not an apartment. It's they're about. I mean, very often, like ours were like $2,000 a month. That's a lot for an apartment. And we didn't do any kind of memory care, so people with dementia or something like that. Now, people that we had there developed dementia occasionally, and they had to be moved on to a higher form of care, which would be like an assisted living, or more likely a nursing home. And the difference is memory care places can lock you in, or it's not that they can lock you in, they need to lock you in. Otherwise, in the middle of the night, somebody's going to go be walking around traffic. And and I explained this the other day, but we had a guy that was needing to be moved on to a memory care place. And it was taking time working it out with his medical people and all that. And one day he just disappeared. And we were in the state of Washington, and he called a couple weeks later, and he was in San Francisco, and he didn't know where he was. And it's funny how this happens, because the guy's name was Spike, and he had a marine lifer. He had been in Korea, was shot in the head in Korea when the Chinese soldier came to check on him to finish him off, in his words. He shot and killed that man. Now, he was shot in the head, and after his convalescence, after he recovered, he became a helicopter pilot. I don't know how that kind of thing happens, how you get shot in the head and then you change jobs to become a helicopter pilot. But maybe that's a Marine Corps thing. I don't know. I was Army. I have no idea. But then after that, Spike, when he started stateside again, after the war, he became an accountant. He never ever told me anything other than that. But he lived in the Washington, D.C. area for the rest of his entire career as an accountant. Spike was not an accountant. I grew up in the military and in the Navy, and then I was in the Army and in the National Guard. And I've always been had more in common with military people because of that. Everybody I ever knew was military. Every holiday event I ever went to had, like my grandfather, who was a lifer and things like that. And my dad's main friends around the world were ex-Navy people. He was on submarines for 12 years, and during the Cold War. And so I've always ended up hanging out with military people, myself. My best friend is retired out of the Army after 29 years, and it's funny, I only spent 4 years which was not my plan. My plan since I was 8 years old was to be a lifer. But, the joke is, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And so shit really didn't work out for me to stay in. And I got out after 4 years, and I went right into, security that took me elsewhere. I tried being a police officer. I was a sheriff's deputy in a deputy reserve for 2 years, and where I did it constantly, and I was also in a reserve, like a National Guard unit, so I was sharing time between that and the reserve and whatever employment I could get at the time, which in that part of eastern Iowa in the late 80s, early 90s was just job economy was terrible. There was something going on, and there was, I kept on working at different places that whole factories would close, or the entire shift would be laid off, and that kind of stuff. Just one thing after another. And so I progressed from those things to working overseas not just overseas, in South America, to as a security person, various kinds of security. And I'm one of those work hodgepodge people, so I never seem to ever stay in one kind of thing. I went into every kind of industry there is, eventually getting into not wanting to travel, not wanting to do those kinds of jobs anymore, and went to work building houses, became a carpenter, and did that for a couple of years, and then went back. I'd worked on towboats for a little bit too, and so I went back to that and did that for a few years on the Mississippi River and the coastal waterways, and then on the Columbia River. And it's funny, the Columbia goes to the Snake and part of the Snake River, and so I would go between Portland and Lewiston, Idaho, and back and forth. The company I worked for there was terrible. It was the worst by far the worst on the Columbia River, which is just my form of luck. But it was so much easier to work on the Columbia River than it was to work on the Mississippi or the Intercoastal Waterways. I worked in and out of the Gulf of Mexico, not of America, of Mexico. And I'm not MAGA, by the way. I'm not going to get any more into that right now, but that's my thing. I'm anti-MAGA, which means I think and plug in the charger to the phone. If that's possible. I've got some stuff, oh my Lord. I've got some stuff today, from today and yesterday to post in a little while, which I will. Well, that's just easier said than done, I guess. Wow, that was amazingly hard to do. But to recap, Karen and I have recently moved from eastern Iowa, where Karen's from, and where I've lived off and on for many years, and where my mom's been living for the last 30 years until she passed, and I'm not a fan of that part of the country. But I was moved there as kind of against my will as a teenager, and I went to high school and finished high school there, and then went in the military from there. And my wife Karen is from there. You know, her and all of her family pretty much. They might have moved from Germany straight to Iowa. I have no idea. But my family's from everywhere. Hey, come on now. Gracie, I was trying to spill my coffee. Don't buy my phone. It's funny, having cats and toddlers is so similar. Cats bite everything. I don't know why. I got one specifically that if he sees it, he bites it, period. That's it. Hey, stop. And then the other one's a little more calm, a little more reasonable, but they still bite things all the time. So yeah, it's like having 3 different toddlers of varying age. You know, that's what I have is 3 cats. And so yeah, I'm a 57-year-old man with little children in my house. They're really just unruly, intoxicated roommates. You know, it reminds me of college. You know, early college, not online college. Okay. And the good news for these postings and stuff like this is I'm a natural talker, which you can probably tell. So even if there was no video, even if there was nobody in the house, or say if I was in Alaska in the middle of nowhere by myself, I'd be talking somehow, for some reason. I used to talk to myself all the time. There's no voices. I'm not talking to anybody. I will say though, I have identified other aspects of my personality. Some of them don't like me. And I've kind of gotten to the habit of talking to them a little bit, you know. It is me, but oftentimes it's my good common sense, if I have that, or the bad common sense, which there's little aspects in my mind of what I like to refer to as people. It's me, but it's just, or possibly, you know, like past relatives. I have no idea how that works, but some of them don't like me, and some of them mess with me constantly, and some of them are actually trying to help me. And then there's those ones that are embarrassed for me, you know, and stuff. Man, I really apologize to the ones that are watching if that's the case, because I embarrass myself constantly. But like a lot of people, you know, it's funny, people keep a lot of secrets, you know, their whole lives. And you know, it's just normal. And I've always thought it was more normal than it probably should be. But You know, life doesn't turn out the way you think it's gonna. You think things are gonna be the way you thought they were when you were 15. You know, and then you get to where you're 19 and you're like, well, okay, maybe we're starting this. You know, then you get to your 25 and you're like, okay, things haven't. They're not exactly like I thought they were going to be. Then you get to where you're 35 and you're like, shit, nothing's working. I thought it was gonna. You know, I know a few people that have, seem to have all their ducks in a row, but my guess is their plans are nothing like their lives. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that, I better turn, hold on, I'm going to turn this off. Karen's about to step out. Nudie rude.